The morning Marie Langston vanished was the kind of morning people forget, not because it lacked meaning, but because it was too ordinary to stand out. The sky was pale, covered in soft, lazy clouds. The breeze carried the faint scent of early, autumn leaves, and everything felt just normal. Marie was up early, as always, moving around the house in that quiet, efficient way that only mothers seem to master. Her youngest, Jamie, was 6 years old and glued to the television with a bowl of cereal that was more sugar than grain. Lily, 11, sat on the stairs brushing her long, dark hair, muttering to herself about how slow her brothers were. And Aaron, the teenager who thought the world owed him explanations for everything, was arguing with their father about skipping school for just one day. He never got his way, of course. Mark, their dad, sat at the table reading the paper. He worked in construction, long hours, early mornings, and stiff joints. But that morning, he looked unusually tired, as if something had drained him while he slept. Marie moved through all of this like she always did, a quiet, comforting force of nature. She kissed Mark on the cheek, told the kids to behave, then said the words they'd never forget, "I'm just going to the store, won't be long." No one thought much of it. She had done that countless times, quick runs for milk, eggs, bread. Sometimes she'd come back with extra things like Jamie's favorite cookies or Lily's scented markers. That day they just assumed she'd come back the same way she always did, but hours passed, then more. By dinner time, the silence had settled in like a thick fog. Mark tried to stay calm. He checked his phone, called hers. No answer. He assumed the battery died. He even told the kids she probably ran into someone and got caught talking. "You know your mum." But he wasn't convincing anyone, not even himself. By 10 p.m. he called the police. The next day they found her car, a silver Toyota Camry, parked neatly in front of the Harverton Market. The front seat was pushed back slightly, just the way she liked it. Her purse sat in the passenger seat, untouched. Wallet inside, nothing missing. Security cameras showed her walking into the store at 9:12 a.m. She picked up a shopping basket, looked around, smiled at the cashier, then walked down aisle 3. That was the last anyone saw her. There was no footage of her leaving. None. Every exit was reviewed, again and again. Police brought in tech experts. They looked for glitches, dead spots in the footage. There weren't any. It was like she'd just evaporated. The town of Belridge was small, tight-knit, and not used to unsolved cases. Everyone had an opinion. Some whispered that maybe she ran off, that she cracked under the pressure of parenting 3 kids. Others swore they'd seen a strange man talking to her weeks before. There was even one woman, a neighbor named Diane, who told people she saw Marie get into a blue sedan that morning. But when asked for a license plate or even the make of the car, she had nothing. Mark didn't believe any of it. He sat in Marie's closet every night for a week, just breathing in the scent of her clothes. Lavender and warm cotton, that was her smell. He left her side of the bed untouched for months, then years. Eventually he boxed some things up, but he never moved on. The kids changed in different ways. Jamie stopped asking questions. His innocence slowly chipped away as years passed. He became quiet, intense, like someone always holding their breath. Lily became angry. She got into fights in school, mouthed off at teachers, and refused to see the school counselor. She blamed everyone. Her dad, the police, God, the world. Aaron left as soon as he turned 18. He took a job in Michigan and didn't come home for years. On the rare holidays he did return, he barely spoke and never mentioned his mother. The Langstons weren't a family anymore. They were just a group of people trying to survive a ghost. Then came the letter. It was a chilly evening in late November, the kind of night that felt like the world was holding its breath before a storm. Jamie, now 21, was living with Mark in the old house. He checked the mailbox while coming home from his late shift at the gas station. Among the bills and junk mail, there was a single white envelope with no stamp, no postmark. His name was handwritten on the front. He opened it on the porch, thinking it was from a friend, maybe one of Lily's prank-loving college buddies. But inside was a photograph, worn, bent at the corners like it had been carried in someone's wallet for years. The image was haunting. A woman sat beside a wooden window with her head slightly turned, looking out at something. Her hair was longer than he remembered, streaked with silver, but her eyes, those were unmistakable. It was his mother, behind. Her in the photo, the interior looked simple. Wooden walls, a small table, lace curtains. Nothing fancy, but something about her expression chilled him. It wasn't fear, it wasn't sadness, it was longing. On the back of the photograph, 4 words were written in tight, careful cursive. "She never forgot you." Jamie dropped the envelope and ran inside, heart pounding like a drum in his chest. Mark stared at the photo for a long time. Then he whispered, "My God." They called Lily, who drove down that night. Aaron flew in the next day, barely speaking a word, just holding the picture like it was the most fragile thing in the world. Jamie scoured the envelope again. A tiny barcode at the bottom led them to a print shop in Santa Rosa, New Mexico, a place none of them had ever been. The shop had shut down 3 months prior, but they had their first lead in 15 years. By the weekend, the 3 siblings were on the road, following the faint trail of a mother who had walked out for groceries and vanished into a mystery that was anything but ordinary. The road into New Mexico stretched like a scar across the desert, dry and endless, with cracked pavement that seemed to hum beneath the tires. Lily drove, knuckles tight around the wheel, eyes locked straight ahead. Jamie sat in the passenger seat, cradling the photograph in his lap like it might break. Aaron was in the back, barely speaking. Each of them was lost in the same question that looped silently through their minds. Where had she been for 15 years? They crossed into Santa Rosa just after sundown. The town wasn't much, a scattering of rundown buildings, 1 gas station, a diner with flickering neon letters, and silence so thick it felt like cotton in the ears. Nobody seemed to be out past 8. The kind of place that welcomed strangers with suspicion, not smiles. The photo print shop was easy to find, or at least what was left of it. It sat wedged between a boarded-up pharmacy and a Mexican restaurant, with 1 working light above its door. The glass on the shop's front was cracked, dust coated the inside, and a sign hanging crookedly in the window read, "Closed permanently." Aaron tried the door anyway, locked. Jamie peeked inside through the sliver between the blinds, barely able to make out shelves of old photo paper, boxes, and a few fading family portraits still tacked to a pinboard. "We came all this way for a dead end," Aaron muttered, stepping back. Lily turned sharply. "No, this photo came from here. Someone went through the trouble of sending it to us. That means something. There's got to be someone who knows what happened before this place. Closed." Jamie's phone buzzed in his pocket, a text from an unknown number. "Hey, you're close, but not safe here. Don't trust locals. Head to Craden Hollow." His breath caught in his throat. "Guys," he whispered. "Look." They all read the message together. No contact, no signature, nothing to trace. But the instructions were clear. "Craden Hollow?" Aaron asked. "Never heard of it." Lily pulled out her phone and tried to search. No GPS results, no pins, not even a Wikipedia page, just a few odd mentions in obscure forums, mostly conspiracy theory types, ghost towns, hidden communities, off-grid living, nothing credible. Still, the name matched what they needed. An hour later, with gas running low and tension rising between them, they followed the directions in that strange message, left off Route 84 down a narrow side road marked only by a leaning wooden post. The landscape changed as they drove. The desert gave way to thick scrubland, the air turning colder, the sky darker. Trees appeared where there hadn't been any for miles, clustered tight like sentries guarding a secret. By the time they arrived, the air was heavy with fog. It clung to the trees and swallowed their headlights. They passed a hand-painted sign, nailed to a wooden arch, "Welcome to Craden Hollow, stay in peace." But peace was the last thing they felt. The town was surreal. No streetlights, no sound. Just a few old houses scattered among the hills, each separated by wide spaces like they didn't want to be neighbors. Some buildings looked abandoned, others flickered with candlelight behind. Curtains. No cars, no power lines, no signal on any phone. Lily pulled into the dirt lot of what might have been a general store decades ago. As they stepped out of the car, the silence pressed on their ears. Then a voice came, soft and cracked. "You're looking for her, aren't you?" They turned to see an old woman standing in the shadows beside the store. She wore a faded shawl and held a lantern. Her eyes, though clouded with age, stared right through them. Aaron took a step forward. "You know who we're talking about?" The woman gave a slow nod. "She came here a long time ago. Wounded, scared, said she was being followed." Lily's voice cracked. "Was she alone?" "She was," the woman said, "but not for long. The Hollow took her in. That's what we do for people who can't go back to the world they left." "Where is she now?" Jamie asked, heart hammering in his chest. The woman hesitated. Her lips tightened, and she looked over her shoulder like someone might be watching. Then she whispered something chilling. "She broke the rule. They said she couldn't leave once she knew, but she tried. That's when they made her forget." Aaron stepped closer. "Forget what?" The woman shook her head. "I've said too much. They'll know. They always know. If you want answers, you go up to the hill, to the White House with the cellar door. But be careful. Truth doesn't come free around here." Then she turned and walked back into the fog, her lantern fading like a dying star. The three siblings stood frozen. "What the hell does that mean?" Jamie asked. "It means," Lily said slowly, "that this place isn't just creepy. It's hiding something." They followed the woman's warning, up the winding dirt path toward the hilltop. The White House stood alone, half covered in ivy, its windows dark, the air around it colder than the rest of the Hollow. There was no doorbell, no porch light. Just a rusted cellar door at the side of the house, slightly ajar. Jamie reached out and pushed it open. The hinges groaned like a dying animal. A single bare bulb flickered to life down a flight of wooden stairs. The smell hit them, mildew, damp earth, and something else, something metallic. They went down, slowly one by one. At the bottom was a room that didn't fit the rest of the house. Sterile, cold, bright buzzing light above a stainless steel table. Cabinets, shelves full of papers and old VHS tapes labeled with numbers. In the corner, a photo pinned to a corkboard. Marie Langston, younger, afraid, standing beside a man with a blurred-out face, and underneath it, in handwritten ink, Subject 6A, Memory Suppression Trial. Results inconclusive. Monitor for relapse. Jamie's knees buckled. Lily stared at the photo, mouth open in horror. What the hell is this place? Then a voice came from the shadows. "Why didn't you stay away?" They all turned toward the voice, frozen in place like children caught somewhere they shouldn't be. The figure stepped into the dim light, revealing a man in his late 60s, thin but tall, wearing a beige sweater with sleeves rolled to his elbows. His eyes were pale gray, like fog over water, and there was something uncomfortably calm about his presence. "I asked a question," he repeated, stepping closer. "Why didn't you stay away?" Aaron's body moved first, instinctively shielding Lily and Jamie behind him. "Who are you?" The man didn't answer immediately. He glanced around the room, then slowly walked toward the table with the VHS tapes. His fingers brushed one, tapping it rhythmically, like he was considering what to say. "This wasn't meant to go this far," he finally muttered. "You were never supposed to see this place." Jamie's voice came out hoarse. "Where's our mom?" The man looked up sharply. "She's not yours anymore." That snapped. Something in Lily. She stepped forward, fists clenched. "Don't you dare say that. You don't get to erase 15 years and act like we'll just walk away. We're not going anywhere until you tell us where she is." The man stared at her for a long moment. Then slowly he reached into the drawer and pulled out a small device, a silver remote with a blinking red light. He pressed a button. The buzzing overhead light flickered, then dimmed, and suddenly a projector on the far wall clicked on. They turned to see a grainy video begin playing. The date in the corner read November 3rd, 2010, 2 weeks after. Marie had vanished. The image showed a small, dimly lit room. Marie was seated on a chair, hands resting in her lap. Her face looked confused, eyes darting around. A voice off-screen, the same man standing before them, spoke gently. "Do you remember your name?" Marie hesitated, then shook her head. "Do you remember where you came from?" Again, she shook her head. The man's voice didn't react. "That's okay, you're safe now, we're going to help you." The screen went black. Lily gasped. You wiped her memory. Aaron's jaw was clenched so tight it trembled. Why? What did she see? What do you people do here? The man sighed and sank into a chair near the wall, as if the weight of the years had finally caught up to him. Your mother didn't just disappear, he said. She found something she wasn't supposed to, something buried beneath Harverton Market, a door. Most people walk by it their whole lives and never see it. But she noticed it. She went down. What was down there? Jamie asked, voice barely a whisper. A chamber, the man said, built by people long before your town even existed. They left behind technology, knowledge. That changes a person's mind, literally. It's been guarded by groups like ours for decades, quietly, discreetly. When someone stumbles into it, well, we have protocols. Aaron was shaking his head, disbelieving. So you're telling me she found some ancient, alien bunker, and you kidnapped her? The man didn't blink. We didn't harm her. We brought her here, helped her forget, gave her a new life in a place where no one would ask questions. She had kids, Jamie spat, stepping forward. A husband, a life. You tore it all away. She saw something that couldn't be unseen, the man said firmly. If she had gone home, she would have slowly lost her mind. Or worse, brought the wrong kind of attention to what she found. We saved her. Lily turned to the VHS tapes. All of these. Are other people? Yes, he said, quieter now. She wasn't the first. That's when Jamie noticed something in the corner of the room. A set of stairs, a second level, leading upward into the main part of the house. There was a metal door at the top, closed but not locked. Without saying a word, he bolted for it. Jamie! Lily shouted, but it was too late. He burst through the door into the house above, old creaking floorboards, dust hanging in the air. The living room was dim, but not abandoned. Someone lived here. Faded curtains, blank walls, a teapot sitting cold on the stove, and in the hallway a shadow moved. Hello? Jamie called out, stepping carefully. Then slowly a figure emerged. She looked older, her hair greyer, but those eyes, blue and familiar and scared, locked onto his. Jamie stopped breathing. Mom? The woman stared at him like she was looking at a ghost. She didn't speak. Her hands trembled. He stepped closer. It's me. It's Jamie. Your son. Her lip quivered. A tear fell down her cheek. Then she whispered, I don't have a son. His heart cracked. In two. Lily and Aaron rushed in seconds later, breathless, and froze when they saw her. Mum, Lily said, eyes wide with disbelief. It's really you. Marie backed away slightly, visibly overwhelmed, her body pressing against the wall. I don't know you. Jamie looked back at the man who'd followed them up the stairs. You did this to her. She asked us to, he said. Lily's voice rose, furious. You're lying. No, the man said. She remembered. A few years ago she started having dreams, flashbacks, faces she didn't recognize. She begged us to help her forget again. She chose this. Marie suddenly covered her ears and cried out, Stop, please, I don't want to remember. And that's when Lily made a decision. She has the right to know, whether she wants to or not. She lunged at the shelves, grabbing the tapes. One of these has to be the memory wipe. The man shouted, Don't touch that. Aaron blocked him. She deserves her truth. In seconds, they jammed one of the tapes into the old TV beside the stairs and hit play. On screen, Marie sat crying in a chair, and her words shook the room. Please, if I ever remember my children, erase them. I can't bear it. I don't want to remember what I lost. The screen froze. Marie was trembling, breathing hard. Then she whispered, Jamie. Jamie? She said again, more certain this time. Her voice had changed. It was softer now, more human, trembling like it belonged to a woman waking from a long nightmare. Jamie froze. His entire body went numb. Yeah, Mom. It's me. I'm here. Marie looked around the room like it was spinning. Her eyes jumped between their faces, one after another. Then her knees buckled. Aaron caught her before she hit the floor. She's fainting. No, the old man said, stepping forward. She's fighting it. Fighting what? Lily snapped. He hesitated. When suppressed memories begin resurfacing, especially under stress, the brain goes into overload. Think of it like two versions of her life trying to live inside her at the same time. Then fix it, Jamie yelled. I can't, it has to run its course. Marie was breathing heavily now, whispering things they couldn't understand. Pieces of names, fragments of memories. Jamie, the porch. Swing, Lily's markers, Aaron's bloody nose, Mark's coffee mug. She curled in on herself, shaking. Lily sat down beside her, stroking her hair. It's okay, we're here, you're safe, just breathe. Marie slowly reached out and took Jamie's hand, holding it like an anchor. Then she looked at him again, this time, not with confusion, but with recognition. You're taller, she said softly. Jamie smiled through the tears. 15 years will do that. Marie blinked slowly. I remember the cereal bowl. You spilled milk all over your pajamas that morning. I told you to change before I left. You didn't come back, he whispered. A wave of pain washed over her face. I didn't. I tried. I found something. She looked up at the old man. You said I'd forget the pain. He didn't answer. Aaron stepped forward. Mum, what did you see that day? What was under that store? Marie sat up straighter. Her face looked like someone pulling thoughts from dark, dusty corners of their mind. There was a door, she began, behind the freezer section. It was ajar. I thought maybe a worker left it open, but I heard something, a humming, like a vibration in my chest. The room was silent. Everyone leaned in. I went down, she said. It was stone, not man-made. Curved walls, symbols I didn't understand. There was a pedestal with something on it. A cube, maybe, I don't know. I touched it, Jamie said, and then I blacked out. When I woke up, I was here. The old man added, she was incoherent, couldn't speak full sentences. Her mind was fragmenting. The object she touched wasn't supposed to respond to humans. Lily turned to him. So instead of helping her, you erased everything. You stole her life. She would have died otherwise. Aaron grabbed the man by the collar, rage boiling over. You don't get to decide that. Marie pulled herself up with effort. It's okay, let him talk. Everyone stared. She stood slowly, clutching the wall, breathing deeply. He's right. When I got here, I was breaking apart. Seeing things, hearing voices. It felt like my brain was on fire. They made me forget to save me. But I asked them to go further. Jamie looked betrayed. You asked to forget us? Her eyes filled with tears. Because remembering you hurt more than forgetting. The room went quiet. She walked to the mirror near the stairs and looked at herself for a long moment. But I remember now, all of it. You kids, your dad, the house. The nights I used to sing to Jamie when he had nightmares. I remember Lily's first period and how scared she was to tell me. Aaron's busted knuckles from fighting a kid who called Jamie names. Jamie moved to her side, hugging her tightly. We never stopped looking. I thought I was dead, she whispered into his shoulder. Aaron and Lily wrapped around them, all four standing in silence, connected by 15 years of absence. Then the old man stepped back and said something that shattered their reunion. You can't leave. Aaron turned, fury reignited. The hell we can't. She's tied to the object now, he said. The effects of what she touched, they'll follow her. She'll deteriorate, maybe worse. Unless she's monitored and stabilized. That's what we've done for 15 years. There has to be another way, Jamie said. We can take her somewhere, medical specialists, the government. You don't get it, the man snapped. This isn't a virus. This isn't psychological trauma. What she's carrying isn't human. It's ancient intelligence. It lives dormant in her mind. You take her out, it might wake up. And if it wakes up... He didn't finish the sentence. Marie suddenly clutched her head. Her eyes rolled back. Then she spoke in a voice that wasn't hers. You brought them, the ones who remember. Lights flickered. A low rumble filled the walls. Shelves shook. The projector burst with sparks, then silence. She slumped to the floor. Jamie caught her. Mum! Mum! The old man stared in horror. It's happening. It's waking up again. What is? Aaron shouted. She's no longer just... Marie, that cube and that thing, it imprinted on her. She's carrying something older than history. She's the key. And if it awakens fully, it doesn't just erase memories, it erases reality. Marie stirred and opened her eyes. You have to lock me back in the chamber. No, Jamie said, voice cracking. It's the only way, she whispered, before it spreads, before it touches you too. Jamie refused to let go, even as Marie pleaded with him, as her body shook and sweat pooled down her face. He held on tighter, like his grip could anchor her soul. You're not going back to that place, he whispered. We just got you back. Marie looked up at him with broken eyes. I'm not just your mother anymore. Aaron stood nearby, pacing. Let's think. There has to be another way, something in all this junk. He gestured toward the basement below. Something they didn't try. There is no other way, the old man said, rubbing his temples. We spent years running simulations. We tested treatments, psychological regression, memory inhibitors, neural rewiring. None of it lasts. The entity always comes back. You keep calling it that, Lily said. Entity, what is it really? The man exhaled deeply. We call it the echo. That's the best word for it. It's not a being, not in the way we understand it. It's a frequency. A sentient code? Think of it like a parasite that attaches itself to the electrical rhythms of the human brain. It doesn't just inhabit the host. It mimics, adapts, rewrites what you are. Marie winced and put a hand to her forehead. It's already whispering again, telling me things, names I don't recognize, places I've never been. I don't know if they're mine or someone else's. You're still you, Jamie said, holding her hand. We'll fight it together. But Marie was trembling now and her voice cracked. You don't understand what it's like. It's not pain, it's seduction. It makes you want to give up, to let it in. It promises peace, but it's not peace. It's nothingness. Aaron, desperate and wild-eyed, shoved a stack of VHS tapes to the floor. Then why the hell did you let her touch it in the first place? The man snapped. We didn't let her. She was never supposed to see it. That cube was sealed for decades behind 2 steel barriers and a biometric lock. Somehow she opened it with nothing but her hand. The air felt heavy, as if the walls were listening. Jamie whispered, You said the object responds to intelligence. No, the man said, shaking his head. Not intelligence. Intent. It responds to pain, to deep, unresolvable longing. It finds the echo of what you've lost and answers with something worse. Marie stood slowly, still unsteady. I lost everything that day, my home, my children, my life. And when I touched it, I saw things, other lives, other timelines, versions of you 3 where you died, where I died, worlds I've never been. I couldn't tell what was real. Lily stepped forward, tears in her eyes. But we're real, this is real. Marie turned to her, smiling faintly. Yes, and that's why I can't let it take me again. A loud clang came from below, the basement, then another, like something metal falling. Jamie flinched. What was that? The old man's face went pale. It knows you're here now. The lights flickered again. The hum returned. That same low vibration Marie had described from the beginning. The whole house seemed to pulse with it, like a heart beating under the floor. Marie suddenly staggered, clutching her temple. Her voice warped again. The echo must spread. Memories are viruses. To remember is to be infected. Aaron grabbed her shoulders. Fight it, Mom. You're stronger than this. Marie's eyes fluttered, silver flecks swimming in her pupils. I'm trying, she said weakly. Then, with terrifying clarity, she said, Take me to the chamber, now. No, Jamie began, but Lily cut him off. She's not asking, Lily said, wiping her tears. She's warning us. If we don't help her contain it, it's going to jump. Jump? Jamie asked. The old man nodded grimly. It spreads through emotional tethering, memories. The stronger your love, the faster it copies itself into your mind. The more you care, the easier it is for it to echo inside you. Jamie's breath caught. You're saying... You're... Already infected, the man said. Jamie stumbled back, holding his head. No, I'm fine, But a voice whispered inside his mind, faint and low, not his own. You miss her, don't you? I can show you every day she was gone, every second you wept. He screamed and dropped to his knees. Marie grabbed his face, pulled him close. Listen to me, Jamie. It's not real. You're not alone. You're not me. Lily grabbed a flashlight and Aaron took a crowbar from the tools nearby. I'll take her, Aaron said. I'm the strongest. If she collapses again, I can carry her. Jamie stood, wiping blood from his nose. I'm going too. No, Marie said. You have to stay. I'm not leaving you. You must, she insisted, her voice cracking. If it takes me and you're near me, it will take you too. This is my fight. Lily was shaking. Then let's finish this. They opened the cellar door beneath the main house, the one with the red warning symbol etched into the rusted handle, and began the descent into the hidden chamber below the hollow. The air turned bitter cold. The walls changed from wood to smooth black stone humming faintly. Lights embedded in the floor lit their path, activating as they walked, as if the place knew they were coming. Marie's steps slowed. Aaron looked back. You good? She nodded. It's louder here. Finally, they reached the door. It wasn't metal or stone, but something darker, like obsidian. Geometric patterns rippled across its surface, shifting constantly. The old man inserted a silver keycard into a narrow slit. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, a chamber shaped like a dome, seamless and echoing. And at the center, resting on a black pedestal, was the cube. It didn't glow, it didn't move, it just existed. Marie stepped forward. It's been waiting for me. The moment her foot crossed the threshold, the cube lit up, silver veins of light pulsing through it. The hum became a roar. Aaron reached for her. Mum. She turned to him and smiled, one last time. Tell your father I loved him. Tell Jamie and Lily, thank you for finding me. Then she placed both hands on the cube. A blinding light burst from the object. The walls rippled, the world cracked, and then silence. When the light vanished, it wasn't like flicking off a bulb. It felt like waking from a dream too quickly. Heart racing, breath shallow, head pounding with a pressure that didn't belong. The entire chamber seemed to exhale, a low sigh rolling across its seamless walls like air escaping from a long-forgotten tomb. Aaron blinked first. The cube was dark again. Marie was gone. He rushed forward, calling her name, screaming it as if the force of his voice could pull her back. Marie? Nothing, no echo, no whisper, no heat where her hands had been, not even dust. Jamie stumbled into the chamber seconds later, Lily right behind him. Both stopped cold. Where is she? Jamie rasped. Where's Mom? Aaron turned slowly, face pale. She's not here. The old man stepped past them, walked up to the pedestal, and ran his fingers over it like someone touching a gravestone. She completed the loop. What does that mean? Lily asked, tears brimming in her eyes. She silenced the echo, he said, by giving herself over completely. She became its container, its tomb. Jamie's fists clenched. So she's trapped in that thing now? Forever? Not in the cube, the man said. In the frequency. She is the echo now, but dormant, still, sleeping. No, Jamie snapped, voice cracking. No, she was just here. She was right here. Aaron turned on the man, grabbing him by the collar. Why didn't you stop her? She wouldn't have let me, he said calmly. She chose it. And for the record, you should be grateful. If it had latched onto any of you, we'd be having this conversation inside a burning world. Lily backed away from them, hand to her mouth, shaking her head. So that's it? That's the end? She saves the world and gets erased from it? Again? The old man glanced at the cube, now inert and quiet, not erased, sacrificed. No one moved for a long time. Then Jamie said softly, I felt her. When she held me, she was still Mom. Even with that thing in her, she chose us. She always did, Aaron whispered. They left the chamber, in silence. The walk back up felt longer, heavier. None of them could speak. When they reached the main floor of the house, the lights flickered once and then stabilized. The air didn't hum anymore. It was just still. Back in the living room, Jamie sat on the couch, holding the photo they'd found in the envelope. The one that started all this. "She never forgot us," he said, "even when everything else was gone." Lily dropped beside him, resting her head on his shoulder. "We won't forget her either." Aaron stood at the window, looking out at the hills of Craden Hollow. The fog had lifted, the trees looked greener, the town no longer felt haunted. "She's part of this place now," he said, "and this place is part of something bigger than we'll ever understand." The old man returned a few minutes later with 3 small wooden boxes. "I'm leaving this place. My job's over now, but I want you to take these." He handed one to each of them. Inside were labeled drives, notebooks, audio recordings, and maps, decades of information about the Echo and those who'd come into contact with it. Lily looked up. "Why give this to us?" "Because someone has to guard the story," he said. "People forget things too easily. But this shouldn't ever be forgotten." Jamie nodded slowly. "We'll protect it." The man gave a faint smile. "You already have." They left Craden Hollow that evening. The sun set behind the hills like a closing eye, and the road out seemed clearer than the road in. Nobody stopped them. No one watched from the windows. It was as if the town itself knew the chapter had ended. Back home, the house felt different. The silence wasn't as hollow. The air wasn't as heavy. Mark was sitting on the porch when they arrived. He stood slowly, expecting nothing more than another dead lead, another disappointment. But the moment Jamie pulled out the photo, something in his face changed. He reached for it like it was a lifeline. "Where is she?" he asked, voice brittle. Aaron stepped forward and said quietly, "Gone." Lily added, "But not lost." Mark sat down hard in the porch chair and looked out across the yard. He didn't cry, he didn't speak. He just stared for a long time before whispering, "She was the strongest woman I ever knew." Jamie sat beside him and finally said, "We saw her. She saved more than just us." That night they lit a candle for her in the window, a flame that would burn until dawn, a small light to honor a woman who had faced something ancient, something beyond language, and stood her ground not with weapons, but with love. In the following days, Jamie began transcribing the tapes and notes the old man had given them. Lily scanned the photographs. Aaron started organizing the journals, mapping out every reference to the Echo. It wasn't just about Marie anymore. It was about what she fought against, and what might still be out there waiting for the wrong hands. And though none of them said it aloud, they knew the truth in their bones. The world had changed that day in the chamber. Most people would never know. But 3 siblings, 1 broken father, and a forgotten woman who went shopping one morning, they carried the story, the burden, the memory, and they would never forget. 2 months passed. The Langston house, once weighed down by silence and grief, had slowly begun to feel like a home again. There were still long pauses in conversations, and quiet moments where one of them would drift off staring at the framed picture of Marie on the mantel. But now, there was something else there too. A sense of peace, of purpose. The Echo was gone. At least they believed it was. Jamie spent most of his nights hunched over the living room table, flipping through handwritten journals, decoding symbols, making connections between the ancient markings Marie had described and what had been buried beneath the Harverton market. The more he read, the more disturbing it became, not because of what was known, but because of what wasn't. One entry, scribbled in the margins of a faded notebook, caught his attention. "The entity does not destroy memories. It duplicates them, hides them, replays them until the host no longer knows what's real." He read that line over and over again. Late at night, he'd wake up thinking he heard her voice in the hallway. A whisper, a laugh. The sound of keys being tossed on the kitchen counter, the kind of thing Marie always did when she came home from the store. He told himself it was grief. But some part of him, deep and irrational, wasn't so sure. Lily was the first to suggest building something permanent. A record, she called it. A digital archive for anyone who might come across the Echo again. Aaron agreed immediately. He'd begun having strange dreams too, ones he couldn't fully remember when, He woke, but that left a strange sensation behind, floating, fragmented time. Sometimes he swore he saw places he'd never been, corridors of black stone, ceilings etched with symbols, voices that repeated things he never remembered learning. They decided to turn Marie's old sewing room into what they jokingly called the Watchtower. Inside they stored everything: the tapes, the data drives, the translated transcripts, the map of Craden Hollow, and every word Jamie had typed from Marie's recovered journals. One night, as Jamie sat alone under the low hum of the desk lamp, he played one of the recordings from Marie's last weeks in the Hollow. Her voice came softly, laced with both sadness and resolve. "If anyone hears this, I want you to know. I didn't go willingly. I fought, but the world is fragile, memories are fragile, and when you carry too much, something always breaks." He paused the tape. He realized then, the pain she felt wasn't just from what she remembered. It was from everything she wasn't allowed to remember, like holes punched in a story. Entire chapters erased while the pages still turned. The echo wasn't about power or control. It was about loss. And loss didn't always announce itself with violence. Sometimes it came wrapped in silence with soft footsteps and fading scents. One evening, Aaron returned home looking shaken. He said he'd gone by the market, the one where she disappeared, just to see what remained. It had been demolished. "Gone," he said, sitting heavily. "The whole structure, like it never existed. Nothing but a chain-link fence now, and a sign that says, 'Future Development Site.'" Jamie blinked. "You think someone's covering it up?" Aaron shook his head. "No, I think the echo wiped it clean, like it's still cleaning after itself." They were quiet for a long time. Then Lily said something none of them were ready for. "We should go back." Jamie stared at her. "To Craden Hollow." She nodded. "Not for her. For us." Aaron looked between them. "It's dangerous. We barely made it out with our minds intact." "But it's calling us," Lily said. "You feel it. I feel it. And Jamie's been hearing things for weeks. What if it's not over?" Jamie wanted to protest, but deep down, he knew she was right. He'd been pretending, trying to resume life, smile at work, talk to friends, but none of it felt real. Everything in his day had started to feel like an echo of something else, a loop, a replay, a fragile film stretched over some deeper reality. So they planned the trip. They told Mark they were going hiking. He didn't ask questions, just hugged each of them a little too long and watched them drive off with eyes that seemed to know more than he let on. They reached New Mexico in 2 days. Craden Hollow looked different. The road leading into the valley was cracked and overgrown. Trees bent in unnatural angles, as if trying to turn away from something they couldn't unsee. The welcome sign was gone, just a rusted pole left in the dirt. They parked by the old general store, now collapsed. The building that once held Marie's last days in the Hollow stood silent, its windows broken, the door swaying open like an invitation. Inside, the furniture was gone. Dust filled the corners. Nothing remained but shadows and air heavy with memory. Jamie stood in the middle of the room and whispered, "Mom." Nothing answered, but Lily noticed something. The photo, the one they'd been sent in the envelope, was back on the wall, pinned with the same crooked thumbtack. They had taken it home. They knew they had. Aaron picked it up, heart thudding. It was the same image, Marie at the window, only this time. Her face was turned toward the camera, and she was smiling. A message was scribbled in faded ink at the bottom. "Some echoes never fade. Keep listening." Jamie reached out and touched the photograph, tracing the lines of her face with his fingertip. It was unmistakably her, older than the day she vanished, yet glowing with something no one could explain. Peace, awareness, or something deeper, something not entirely herself. Aaron stared in disbelief. "We brought this home. I remember packing it. Lily, you saw me do it." Lily nodded slowly, eyes wide. "We wrapped it in a towel. It was in the back seat. I remember." Jamie whispered, "Then how the hell is it here?" None of them had an answer. The house groaned under the weight of stillness. The air shifted, just enough for the curtains to sway without wind. They weren't alone, not entirely. Something lingered, not watching, not threatening, but present. Jamie stepped away from the photo and moved toward the back hallway. He remembered the door that had led to the stairs down into the chamber, the door Marie had opened when she walked toward her fate. It was still there, the lock had been shattered. Splintered wood lay scattered on the floor, as if someone or something had broken it from the inside. He looked back at Lily and Aaron. "You don't have to come." Aaron joined him instantly. "We're not splitting up." Lily nodded. "We started this together. We finish it together." They descended once more, this time without hesitation. The same metal staircase groaned beneath their weight, and the lights embedded in the floor flickered on, recognizing them, guiding them. The chamber was cold and silent. The cube was gone. In its place was a stone slab, smooth and flat, with no markings. Aaron approached it slowly. "What is this?" Jamie crouched down, running his hands across its surface. "It's warm." They looked up. The walls of the chamber were different now. The moving symbols were gone. Instead, words were etched into the surface, spiraling outward from where the cube had once been. They weren't in any human language, but somehow they understood them. It wasn't reading, it was remembering. Each word hit like a memory knot, theirs, flooding their minds with things they had never experienced. 1,000 different versions of Marie. 1,000 different lives. Worlds where she stayed. Worlds where she didn't. Realities where the cube never existed. And others where it consumed entire cities. In every one the echo persisted, and in every one it adapted. Lily's knees buckled. "It's alive, it's learning." Aaron stood frozen, mouth parted, eyes wide. She didn't stop it. She became the barrier, but it's still there, behind her. Jamie staggered back. "So if she ever breaks?" Silence answered. And in that silence, Jamie finally understood the photograph. Her smile wasn't just peace. It was a warning. She was still holding it back, but only barely. They had to leave, not out of fear, but out of respect. This wasn't a place for humans anymore. It never had been. As they ascended the stairs for the last time, Jamie paused at the top. He turned back, looked once more into the void below and whispered, "Thank you, Mum." Lily left the photo behind, pinned on the wall where they found it. Let it remain as proof, a reminder, a warning. Back home, weeks passed quietly. They told Mark the truth, or enough of it to give him peace. He never asked how it ended. He simply nodded, placed his hand over Marie's photo on the mantel and said, "She always did have more strength than any of us." The watchtower remained intact. The records stayed hidden but organized. Each of them contributed in their own way. Lily with the digital logs, Aaron mapping other possible contact sites based on old logs, Jamie recording audio notes about the emotional changes he still felt in the quiet hours of the night. Then, one morning Jamie received a letter. No return address. Inside, a single photograph. This time, Marie stood on a forest path surrounded by golden light. Her expression wasn't just peaceful. It was knowing. She was holding a notebook in her hand, one they had never seen before. On the back of the photo, "The echo has moved again. It remembers you. Be ready." The photo dropped from Jamie's hands. Lily looked up from her laptop. "What is it?" Jamie's voice was hollow. "It's not over." Aaron stepped out from the hallway, eyes narrowing. It never was. That night, as they gathered in the watchtower, a low hum began to vibrate through the floorboards. Soft, barely there, almost like a memory, almost like a whisper. Some echoes never fade.